All right, and we are live.
Hoorah.
All right, all right, all right. We in here. We are here.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm about to crack a cold one with the boys. Oh, it's not even cold. I had to put ice in a glass.
As long as you enjoyed it, that's all that matters.
I mean, I'm gonna do my best. I don't really like beer like that. I mean, I'll drink it here and there. I mean, like a Corona, a nice good Corona. Ooh, okay, that's a pretty dope foam head. All right, cool. All right, we'll leave it like that. That's fine with me. That is fine with me. All right. So let me switch over. I'm gonna watch this on my phone on silent. That's what I'm gonna do, just so I can make sure everything's running right, running correctly. So also that way I can see who's watching too. Just so I can make sure everything's running right, running correct. Mm-hmm. And I can see who's watching. I can see comments, concerns, questions. That's weird watching my own live. I feel kind of weird.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's a bit of a different experience.
Mm-hmm. It's like, huh? Am I really that narcissistic? Am I seriously that narcissistic? Um, Now it's weird because if I was doing this through Facebook, I could like invite people to. Maybe I can. Can I? Nah, I don't want to do that. Oh, maybe I said so I can view it on Facebook. All right, so I'm gonna view it on Facebook. You're about to view a broadcast on Facebook. We recommend closing Facebook while you're live. Okay. Um, let's see. I can view it on Facebook. Oh, so can I add people to it? Like if I was normally on Facebook? Oh yeah, I can share. Here's a share button right here. Share, share. There you go. I don't know why I shared it to you.
What, on Facebook?
Yeah.
No worries.
Get some viewers in here. I am definitely turning this volume off on this. This is so weird. Double hearing myself. I just sent this to mad people. All right, all right. I mean, so I don't know. Is that one viewer me, or is that someone else?
I'm not sure.
Hold on. Let me exit out of it. Well, no. Then there should be two viewers because I'm looking at it on my phone. Plus through the thing, I close the thing. Let me close it out on my phone. Does it go down to zero? It stays
I
still.
mean,
Yeah.
because technically, I mean, wouldn't they count both of us then since we're both on it?
Are you watching it through Facebook?
I can't remember because like if I open that, this
Yeah,
will close.
it's gonna close. Yeah. So no, wow, it hasn't gone away. So it looks like we actually have one actual viewer. What's up? What's up? Please, everyone, feel free. Well, the one person. Hi, how you doing? I'm Power Maximus. This is Lord Triage.
One and only triage.
Everyone's favorite demigod. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, ask questions. Please ask questions. We want to interact with you guys. You guys got a hero, you guys got a villain you guys want to talk about. Please just let us know. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. You guys want to talk about a new show that just dropped? Anything pop culture, Star Wars, anything, drop it in there. Shoot a comment and we'll get on it. We'll start talking about it. Like right
Right.
off the rip, as y'all probably know, Triage and me, we have a podcast called The Super Breakdown that airs every other Wednesday. And we just sit down, we just break down superheroes and villains. Last week, we did the Black Panther. Next week, we're doing Deathstroke. And, we just go into the background, talk about where they came from, what the start is, both in comic book and other relevant content that we've seen them in. Look to see like where they are currently are now in the comic books, where they are other content. On top of that, we also give a little bit of feedback on what we want to see going on with the character in the future, or what they could do. And even give a little bit of our own little what ifs, just to see, just to play around a little bit. But yeah, definitely thank you for viewing. We're gonna get into a few things for about the next hour, or honestly, however long you guys want to keep it rocking for. We can rock with it, or however long Triage wants to rock for. But yeah, or at least until my fiance's done cooking dinner. But even then, I'm probably gonna be sitting here talking to y'all, just smacking away in the ear. Um, but um, But yeah, definitely thank you guys for watching. I'll be posting the links to our website, to my website, Weeks Multimedia Group, which will be going under a name change shortly. We're going to be rebranding to Weeks Multimedia Empire. 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 Weeks Multimedia Empire. I just feel like it has a better tone to it. It sounds a lot better. It's a little more fun to talk about. We got another view in here. Again, thank you guys. Welcome. Power Maximus. I'm sitting here with Lord Triage. We gonna get into it. We gonna just give it a little bit, let everyone funnel in. We just sent this out. We just started about 8 minutes ago. So if you guys want to hang out with us, you guys got anything you want to talk about, please shoot it in the comments. We see them all. We'll get to as many as we can. Definitely. So thank you for checking in. Let's see what we got here. So, as we were talking about before we went live, Moon Knight and Young Justice. Moon Knight and Young Justice. Like, for any of you who are not watching Young Justice on HBO Max, any of you who haven't watched Young Justice at all, you're bugging. You don't know what you're missing out on. Like, it's such a great show. It's doing a lot of things that the original Justice League show and Justice League Unlimited couldn't, because of the time that they were in, and also the people that were writing on it and producing it, directing it, all that stuff. But this last season of Young Justice has been absolutely phenomenal. They've been just touching on so many really touchy topics and subjects that it's been absolutely triggering, I'll say. I don't know. What do you think, Triage? Would you say triggering too? This man done muted his mic again. Let everyone funnel in. That's actually not that bad. Oh, damn. And
Howard?
we're back. Hey, all right. What's up, Triage?
Nothing.
All right.
Little technical difficulty there.
I was just about to say it. I'm working on my technical difficulty right now too. Oh man. But yes, so before we were so rudely interrupted by technical difficulties, how dare you? I brought up right before we started the stream, we were just talking about Young Justice and the crazy things that Young Justice is doing right now, especially now that HBO has gotten their hands on it. Like,
yeah, because we all know HBO is not afraid to push boundaries. And you wonder the funny thing is, that's probably the reason why this has gone the direction it has, because HBO has always been known for that.
Absolutely. Like, so originally, it was on Cartoon Network, right?
Yes.
For the first season, right? It got first 2 seasons. So then it got canceled, right? And then season
3, Outsiders.
More technical difficulty, man. This thing just don't like us tonight. Hold on. We're going to fix it right quick. Sorry to you guys. More technical difficulty. We're working on a new platform right now, so we're just we're still learning it. One second. All right. Well, yeah. So I'll say what he was saying. First 2 seasons, Cartoon Network, it was still good. You know, it was nice and good. We got our usual Justice League kind of feel from it. Then season 3 got picked up by Netflix, and that's when we started seeing bit more of a more serious tone, darker tone. And then these last 2 seasons have been absolutely wicked. When I say wicked, I mean dark. These last 2 seasons have been they've been bloody. They've been touching on some super serious topics. And if you're faint of heart, lighthearted, if you are not open-minded whatsoever, then you definitely need to not watch.
There we go.
There we are. All right. Triage is back. I'm back. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Weak. This thing is so weak. Howard.
Yeah, Yo, can you hear me? Triage? 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 Can you hear me, Triage? You see what I'm talking about? All these technical difficulties, man. They're wild. We'll be right back after these short messages. One moment. Can you hear me, brother?
Testing.
Testing. Triage? No? No. Hello. We'll be right back after these quick messages. All right, hello?
Yep.
All right, there we go. That was annoying as hell.
Yes, I agree.
Very annoying. So here's the shit. This is what happened on my side. Whoa, first off, what happened on your side?
I have no clue. It canceled and cut me out, and then I could hear you. I couldn't hear you, but I could hear myself.
That's weird. And then for me, what happened is my laptop was like, "Oh, I'm about to die." So I'm like, "Okay." I ran, grabbed the charger, plugged it in, and then I'm like, "All right." Talking. Young Justice died. I'm like, "What? You plugged in? How you die?" Oh no. But anyways, that's what we're saying. Young Justice, first 2 seasons on Cartoon Network. The third season was on Netflix. Was it third and fourth or just the third?
Just the third.
Just the third season was on Netflix. Now that season in itself was crazy. That was the Invasion season. That alone.
No.
Invasion. Season 2. Season 2 was Invasions. Season 3 was Outsiders. Yep. So right off the rip, though, Young Justice season 1 and Young Justice Invasions were good. They were super good, right? But when Outsiders came along, they started to push that limit. They started to push that boundary. There was a lot of testing on kids, new metahumans coming out, world invasion. It's It was crazy. But now we get to this HBO era. And as you all know, HBO got no filter. They got no chill
whatsoever.
Like, have you guys see the OG HBO Spawn? OG HBO Spawn cartoon?
Yeah, that was different.
That was different. That was very, very different. Mm-hmm. If you've seen that, then you know what we're talking about when we say that Young Justice has taken a very darker turn. Listen, the last arc, I think it was the first arc of this season of Phantoms. You see Lady Shiva cut one of the ninjas in half. Just straight clean through him.
Like a Gensu blade.
With ease. Not to mention how many heroes have died thus far. Like legit died. Not like, how like the death of Superman, how he really wasn't dead, he was just in a Kryptonian coma. No. Last time I checked, Kid Flash ain't got no Kryptonian coma. That man ran until he vaporized. But I don't think that he's gone. I don't think that he's gone. They could have pulled a Flash and had him run run so fast he tapped into the Speed Force. Now he's lost to the Speed Force.
I agree.
That's an absolute cop out. That would be nuts, dude. That's 10 years. That's 10 years. In the show, it's been 10 years since they've all formed together and come together.
Has it been 10?
Yeah. The last episode there was Calder. After the last episode, not the last episode, the one before that with when
he's talking to Nightwing.
Yes, when he's at the end credit scene when he's talking to Nightwing. He's sitting there talking to him and he says it's been 10 years, Dick. 10 years. 10 years since they got together. So that's what I find interesting. It's been 10 years in the show. So now we got all these heroes that done got murked out. Now, if you haven't watched Young Justice, we got some new viewers. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the limited edition live. I'm Power Maximus. I'm here with the one and only, everyone's favorite demigod, Triage. Listen, we sitting here, we're talking about anything pop culture. Y'all want to hear something? Y'all want to talk about something? Definitely, throw it into the comments. We'll touch on it. We'll talk about it. Right now, we're talking about Young Justice and the crazy things HBO Max has been doing with Young Justice. So as I was saying, like, bro, like, if they brought Wally back at this point in the story, after Artemis done already moved on, after everyone had all this crazy shit done happened, bro, and he's the same age as when he left.
Oh, sweet statutory. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they could really work that, because I mean, that did happen to Barry Allen in the comics. He did run into the Speed Force, and everyone thought he had died. And he wound up running back out. So I mean, they could pull it off, but it's like, well, and here's another thing too. Here's another thing too, because they've showed the League of Assassins, and that one ninja that is with them, that's definitely Jason Todd.
Oh, absolutely.
So we know Jason Todd's not dead.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep. Jason Todd is not dead. Yep. Well, I mean, we already know Jason Todd doesn't die, but we know that that's definitely him. And also that baby that she's carrying is Damien. That baby that she be holding in her hands.
Oh, yeah, Talia, yeah.
That's that. Yeah, that's Damien. Yep. Because it looks like a baby Bruce. He looks exactly like a baby Bruce. like But yeah, this show, man. Oh man, listen. What was it? It was Talzad. What was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, man. That's gonna be interesting. With Connor in the Phantom Zone, Talzad, oh my god, man. Where do you think they're gonna go with that?
I'm curious to whether or not it's going to be one of those things to where if Zod's body is destroyed, can his Phantom possess a Kryptonian? Because it's like if he goes into Superman's body, will he have Superman's powers? And like what happens to his soul? Because we've seen like in Smallville and in other media that the Phantoms can possess people if they're released. So it's like if someone
Actually,
winds up releasing them from the Phantom Zone and he doesn't have a body to go to, what happens to him?
actually, we're seeing that right now in on whatchamacallit, in Superman and Lois. We actually just saw that last season. Last season,
Right.
um,
Excuse me, you're right.
yep, Tal, Tal Rowe. Well, technically, Superman's half brother, Tal Rowe. That's what he did. He was using the X Kryptonite to essentially assimilate the Kryptonian the consciousness of Kryptonians that had been locked away inside this thing where like it has their collective knowledge. It's so weird. So now, like, he can, using the X Kryptonite, he can incorporate Kryptonian DNA into humans, and that's what he was doing. He was going around making, essentially making Kryptonians.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys. So, I just want to give y'all a heads up. This definitely be public now. So everyone can take a look and jump in and watch it. But that's so we've already seen that. Now we've already seen. Speaking of the Phantoms jumping into bodies, we've seen already in the show. We've seen cloning. You've already seen
Right.
cloning. We've seen Vandal Savage clone his son.
True.
We've seen him. First off, hold on. First, we've seen him clone Ocean Master.
Mm-hmm.
Brain and all. Right?
Right.
Now that makes sense because you have the physical DNA. You have his body. Right? You have his body. So I can imagine it'll be easy to clone someone if you have their whole body. But then this man cloned his son, who had been dead for centuries, who died in the sinking of Atlantis, cloned him from a strand of DNA off of his flute centuries later. So, this new Zod character could, in fact, not just be a child of Zod, it could be Zod himself, a clone.
Right, it could be. This is true. Or they could be in the process of releasing Zod's Phantom to put him back in his original body. All they would need is a sample of his DNA.
That's true.
Hell, they could use a sample. They could use a sample of Superman's DNA. We've already seen that with Superboy and Match.
Yeah. Now that's gonna be interesting.
Because if memory serves me correctly, in the show they never really said what happened to Match.
No, they didn't.
Or if Match and Superboy were the only two clones they made.
No, yeah, we know for a fact it's Lex and Cadmus, bro. It's Lex and Cadmus. They got backups for the backups for the backups for the backups. They just letting this ride out. Contingency. I swear to God, sometimes I think Batman was in charge of Cadmus, bro.
Yeah.
I can see it. If Batman and Amanda Waller actually teamed up and started working together, it'd be a problem. It'd be such a problem.
Yeah,
Cause
it would definitely be an issue.
she knows his identity.
He does.
Yeah, it was revealed. It was revealed that she knows who he is back in the Justice League series,
Right.
Justice League Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "I dare you,
Right.
I dare you. Trust me,
And
I'm ready for
they
it."
also hinted at that in the Suicide Squad movie when she told him to stop working nights. So it's
Yeah, yo, yeah, yeah. Yo, she said, "Stop working nights." I'm like, I was that had me stuck right there. I was like, wait, no, no way.
but it would make sense. I mean, with the shit she's involved in, the stuff that she was doing,
Mm-hmm.
I I always took Amanda Waller as what Nick Fury should have been.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Well, the original Nick Fury was. He was literally a male Amanda Waller. I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah,
the original white Nick Fury. He was literally just like Amanda Waller. Come on, man. The whole he knew about symbiotes before the rest of the world knew about symbiotes. Like
very true, very true.
he led that whole mission with Wolverine to go out and essentially clear out what Weapon One was doing with the symbiotes. That whole group there, he led him out there to wipe them out. But even then, and on in some Amanda Waller fashion, it wasn't even really him that was there in the first place. It was a robot.
LMD, remember something correctly. That's
Yep, LMD. Yep, an LMD. What was it? LMD
model decoy.
Life Model Decoy. Yep, Life Model Decoy. Speaking of those, I want to talk about Shield real quick. Agents of Shield.
Okay, go ahead.
I just love how they tied that in, how they brought that in. I love how they brought the LMDs into with Shield. I feel like that was a nice, clean transition, and they used it later on. Don't get me wrong, it was a bit of a cop out later on when to bring Coulson back as an LMD, but yeah, I'm like if you watch have you watched Picard yet?
Have I watched what?
For Star Trek, Star Trek Picard.
I have not.
You should. It's good. It literally brings back the entire original cast, all throughout each. Not even just that one, but just all the other leaders of the Enterprise end up showing up eventually through the show. I gotta watch season 2. I haven't checked yet because they moved over to Paramount. Same thing with Star Trek Discovery. They moved to Paramount, but it's essentially the same thing. LMDs. Data. Remember Data? What were you a Star Trek? Were you a Trekkie?
Of course.
Okay. Remember Data, right? So remember how Data, in the end, Data sacrifices himself, and dies to save Picard.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what this entire season, this first entire season of Picard, based off of. So essentially, there's a terrorist who has been essentially using these how do I say this? Been using these I'm gonna call them LMDs. Using these they're called synths, my bad. Using these synths to essentially blow things up and create mass mayhem and stuff, and then they end up going after this chick, this little girl, and so and nobody knows why, whatever. So Jean-Luc, he decides, I'm gonna help you out. Come with me, let's figure out what's going on. Throughout the line, they figure out, hold on, how do you know that? How do I look familiar to you? Why you talking about I look familiar, like you feel safe around me? Why is that? So She's like, I don't know. I'm just getting these flashes of you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, she's a synth.
Mm.
Not only is she a synth, but she is the most humanoid synth ever. Like, the difference between her and a human is literally the color of her blood.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what he ends up doing is like they look at her data, whatever, and then come to find out he's like, hold on, your modeling and your data, whatever you're coding, whatnot, looks like somebody I know. It looks very familiar. Then he would realize like, oh, you're come to find out the chick was made of the last synaptic code from data. So they go on this whole mission. Yo, we got to figure out what's going on. Why are they trying to attack her? This is not, blah, blah, blah. So to kind of find out there's this whole group of evil synths that are trying to bring about the freaking apocalypse by summoning these ancient evil synths from like another galaxy to come and take over the world and kill all living humans. Because the humans ended up raging. They didn't wage war, but they end up exiling the synths to their own planet. So what ends up happening is they go on this huge freaking journey, whatever. They end up linking up with one of the other Star Trek Enterprise leaders, and whatnot. You see other original characters throughout the story, and all that others, and all like, bro, it gets really good to the point where like they end up finding the synth homeworld, right?
Mm.
And the dude that's in charge of the synth homeworld is the man who is responsible for creating the first synth ever,
Makes sense.
which was Data.
No pun intended.
I didn't catch that at first. I didn't catch that. The first man ever who created them, which was the first one, was Data, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Any real Trekkies out there, please correct me if I'm wrong on the first synth ever. But point is, come to find out, Data was modeled after the man who created, who was pretty much like the founder and creator of AI and synth AI.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so instead of bringing back Data himself, they brought the actor back to play Data's father.
Okay.
Yeah. So come to find out, and as the story goes along, you end up finding out that Jean-Luc is actually dying. So he has this incurable disease, and it's really reminiscent of Professor X and Logan. Like, it's like deteriorating his mind and shit and all that. And so what ends up happening is he ends up sacrificing himself. Since he was dying anyway, he ends up sacrificing himself to essentially save the universe again.
Mm.
What ends up happening at the end is because he sacrificed himself, they make him a synth body and transport his consciousness into that synth body. Yep. Talking about LMDs. So now Captain Picard, they were going to break it and have it be like, oh, well, you're undying now, you're immortal, you're a robot now. But Picard wasn't happy with it. He's like, no, I don't want to be immortal, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, don't worry. I essentially gave you a body. I didn't make you immortal. It has a clock, and it's set to the number of years that you would normally have left if you weren't sick. So you can live a normal life. You won't age, but you will eventually die. But you're completely 100% healthy. And now the show can continue. I'm like, That's pretty broken. But like I said, LMDs is such a damn cop out. Sorry, I just had to go off on that tangent about LMDs, just because I had to go off on that tangent. But yeah, what were we talking about originally? Young Justice.
Yes.
And Batman. My bad. I'm sorry. I got off on a tangent. Yeah. But yes. Yeah. Vandal Savage's planning on what he's doing. So, is Vandal still in cahoots with Darkseid?
He's got to be, man. He's absolutely got to be. It's just one of the things, like, I'm trying to figure out. My whole thing with Darkseid is that, you know, they shook hands and they had an understanding, but that was centuries ago. And just like Vandal's playing a long game, you've always got to bet that Darkseid is too. And he's usually working in an angle that you don't see until it's too damn late. Mm-hmm. So my whole thing is, like, did you ever see the crossover they did with the Ninja Turtles and Batman?
I saw pieces. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay. So there was a thing, because I actually got the books, and there was a thing like where Splinter was counseling Batman, because Batman was also worried about Ra's al Ghul, and he was like, how Ra's al Ghul is going to wind up betraying the Shredder, so he wasn't worried about it. But Splinter was counseling him that, you know, they're more alike than what they realize. He's like, you're so focused on one of them. He's like, you're not seeing the fact that the Shredder's probably about to betray Ra's al Ghul himself. So it's like, so it's like, you know, it's one of those, you know, we're so similar, we're looking into a mirror and seeing our differences, but we're also not seeing the same way we act the same. So if Vandal's playing a long game, Apocalypse is definitely playing one. The question is, what is it he wants? I mean, we all know that he's after the anti-life equation and everything, but it's like, there's got to be a bigger thing at play here.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen the Apocalypse tech from Spear and the stuff that Intergang had going back to season 1, like with Superboy getting the super cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And then the whole thing with Forager and everything that's been going on with them. So it's like, we've been low-key seeing this. And then, like, with the last episode of Young Justice, they introduced Orion. And we all know his story.
He's the true son of Apocalypse.
Right?
And then, what's his name? Escape artist?
Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle. And he's actually the son of the king of the New Genesis. High Father. So because if I remember correctly, they swapped sons as a peace symbol.
Which I still think is ass backwards, but whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, the what? Okay. Because I remember they essentially did the same thing they did the same thing with Justice League Gods and Monsters with Wonder Woman. Because Wonder Woman isn't Princess Diana. She is
Oh, you're right.
Apocalypse's
daughter. I had to think for a second. I thought you were going more like a Game of Thrones reference with the whole thing with like Theon being raised by the Starks.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, wasn't he? He was really more so a prisoner. Wasn't really much of a peace offering.
But once again, that depends on how do you define the word peace. All peace means is who's got the bigger stick. You know, if Balon Greyjoy had to have the incentive that if he got out of line, his son's head would be delivered to him, he was gonna act right.
That's true.
So it's like that. I always took that as the perspective from them too. Like, yo, you start acting buck wild, you're gonna have a problem.
But even then, the difference between peace and leverage.
I guess it all depends on who's holding the stick.
All right, that's a good answer.
The thing with that always is like, you know, Darkseid has never really showed interest in what happens to Orion, because Orion thinks of as High Father as his parent. He thinks of him as his true heritage. So it's like, and Mr. Miracle, you know, first chance he got, he ran like hell. So it's like,
serious. That man was out. He was out. As soon as they gave him It's like they let the leash off the man. He was gone. Gone.
One of the first people to ever escape Apocalypse. Like,
It took him a long time though.
It did.
Because he may have escaped the castle, but he was stuck on the planet for a while. And he was hiding in the within the planet and stuff, within the venting and shit.
And that's something else that's really interesting. Like it's one thing for you to have to escape an area. He had to escape a planet.
With no ships that nobody actively flies to. It's not like it's a tourist attraction. It's not like you got regular shipments or plane coming through. It's not like, it's not like Anakin trying to escape from Naboo or anything like that. It's not like there's actual ships on a regular basis leaving. So that man had to wait and plan his precise opportunity, precise time to get up out of there. And that time came when I remember. So they redid it in the New 52.
Mm-hmm.
For the New 52, they did Justice League War when they showed the first reuniting of the Justice League for the New 52. That's how, if I remember correctly, I probably not remember correctly. I haven't seen it in so long. That's how Orion originally escaped the first time, because they traveled to Apocalypse to save everyone, and they bump into Mr. Miracle, and they set him free. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna help y'all get out of here. I'm gonna show you how to get out of here." And he ends up
do not remember
him. I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember. I remember it was Batman. I remember he was talking with Batman, and he was showing Batman around how to get out. I know for a fact it was Batman.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Let me research. Research. Oh, if I could spell.
The one thing I would like to see them touch a little bit more on, as far as like this whole thing goes, is that like I get that Darkseid's the big bad guy. He's the villain behind the curtain. He's the one who could take it all down. But the universe is a lot bigger than just Earth and Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we have all these different alien races that are inside the league that we very rarely get to see. Like, we got the Thanagarians, we got the Martians. And matter of fact, with the Martians, man, like that whole first few episodes when they were talking about the whole thing with the Civil War and the divide between them
and all that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, amongst a race of shapeshifters who could look like anyone, there's a race issue. That's insane.
Right? Who said it? Who said it in the show? Somebody said it in the show.
I want to say it was the Prince. I want to say it was the Prince of the Planet.
Oh, yep. When he was giving that speech right there at the end, right before the big boom, he's like, I find it amazing how on a planet full of shapeshifters, we have a race problem. That is, man.
And there's only what, 4 races? There's white, green, red, and yellow.
Yes. Yep. Like,
because I appreciate the whole thing with them doing like the acknowledging the acknowledging and like the accepting part of like the show, like how McGann started off passing herself off as green. And like, if you're someone who hasn't listened to us before in our podcasting, we talked about the whole thing with passing, like with the X-Men and Archangel and his wings, and check that out on our podcast if you get a second.
Yep, Super Breakdown. Check it out on Spotify, The Super Breakdown, or you can check it out on my website, weeksmultimediagroup.com. Take a look into our podcast section. It's going to be The Super Breakdown, Angel and Archangel. Check it out, y'all. But yeah, go ahead.
So she was like how she started passing herself off as a green Martian. And like now, if you watch the more recent seasons, she's white now. She keeps her still like her regular form, but she went from having her skin be green to having it be white. So that's true, like her embracing herself in like her true form. So I appreciate that a lot.
I'm gonna be honest. It makes me upset though. I was really happy to see, another colored woman on the screen. To be honest.
I was not expecting you to go there with that, but okay.
It felt good, but now, I mean, it is what it is. Embrace your true self. Be who you are.
Right. Well, shit. Look at everything they've done with Aqualad. That brother got blonde hair and is happily involved with a male.
Yeah, you are right. You're right.
What brother got blonde hair other than Shelton Benjamin?
Chris Brown.
Stop. Listen. Oh my God. You said Chris Brown. This fool. All right. You're not wrong, but you're not right. So,
bro, I kid you not, bro. When he had it, when Chris Brown had his brown hair, when I looked at Calderon, that's all I saw with the tattoos on the arms and everything. I was like, man, this man is just a he's just a dark skinned Chris Brown.
I'm gonna apologize for him, everyone, but. But yeah, so it's like I like the fact that they're addressing certain issues like that, from pronouns and sexuality and sexual preference, and the fact that they're using like how you appreciate your identity and the way you, but they're also addressing like issues as far as like race and
big time. They started out with that one. They started out with that one, and that's really what I appreciate. Especially, I feel like the timing of it was perfect. Like I said, they started out with the whole Mars, and then I don't know if you've caught this, but even though, even though each arc has been talking about different things, I definitely see you right. I see you right there, Cash. Yeah, Young Justice says Young Justice is a good show in the beginning. The last season, however, I don't know, but see, and now he says that they should address actual crime fighting. I'm like,
you should address what?
Actual, like, be more into crime fighting. I see what you're saying there, but I feel like I appreciate the fact that we don't have any shows out there that are kid oriented, that are touching on these subjects to show people how that it's okay to question your sexual identity. It's okay to question your gender identity. It's okay to question race, and it's okay to question it's I feel like it's very mind opening as well.
Well, yes, because it's one of those things where everyone wants to have their space and be accepted in it, and it's like for them to show that especially like amongst this wide group of people from different races and genders and orientations, and like fucking hell, Wonder Woman's from an island that's full of nothing but women.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, I mean, if you don't think there's some copulation going on there,
if you would look at Superman is the last of his race. Batman, he identifies with that, I'd say, I'm gonna say it this way, with that minority of 1% that doesn't really want to be that 1%. He identifies as just like, I'm here, I have this money, I have this power, but it's not mine. I don't care about that. I'm going to use this to help the people that really need it. Then you got...
I think that was more of a Green Arrow thing. That was more Oliver Queen to me. That's one of the reasons why I loved him.
Absolutely. Okay, I definitely feel that for you. But I definitely agree with what he's saying right now as well. He said Teen Titans 03 did a lot better than whatever Gabrielle is doing with her mom at the table. Not really. Don't be wrong. Like Teen Titans 03 did a lot of things amazingly well, but it was for one episode.
Right.
Like we have both Starfire and we see both Starfire and Cyborg have to deal with a form of racism. You know,
True.
even then, Cyborg didn't even really deal with that form of racism. They just had him say that one hard hitting line. But if you look at Starfire, literally, he was using the N word at her. He
More or
was
less, yeah.
using the N word on her, essentially. And then, so I feel like Starfire. If anything, I feel like Starfire really had to deal with. They actually had like what? It was like 3 episodes where they were dealing with that. Like 3 episodes of story they were dealing with that. Either 2 or 3 episodes they were dealing with that.
You want to
But
say you're talking about the original Teen
yeah,
Titans?
03 Teen Titans,
No, I
where
want
he
to say
was
that was
calling
one.
them.
That was one episode. It was called Troc.
Yeah, Trog. Yeah. Let me see. It's the way they write it out in Young Justice that makes it hard. It's too much talking. While addressing things, they had crime fighting in the middle of doing too much story overlapping while having some boring stuff in the middle. Don't forget the Brotherhood stuff. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with the Brotherhood stuff. They aimed it more towards that, of his outer appearance of him being robotic. And they never actually talked about his skin color. They never talked about the color of his skin or his race. They just talked about the fact that he was part robot.
Yeah, machine. Yeah.
Yeah, a part machine. With Starfire, they legit said Trog, as in you are below me. You are another form. Your species is nothing. Trog literally translates to nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's a meta. I get it. It's a metaphor for what he has going on. And first off, I love the fact that there's no delay. There's literally maybe like a few seconds delay between the comments coming in, me responding, or us responding. Are you able to see the comments, Triage?
I cannot actually.
Oh,
Like I can't switch
okay.
back and forth. I'll try to work on that in the future, people.
Oh, okay. So what I'll do, what I'll do. Let me see if I can do this. Give me a sec. It's gonna look a little crazy if I do it this way.
Let's see. I mean, that old 3 Teen Titans was something definitely different, and it's like I remember the episode when Raven and Starfire switched bodies, and like how they had to walk a mile in each other's shoes. And it's like,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg once said, "Let your mind not be confused. If you can walk my walk, you come take my shoes." So it's one of them things like, it's very easy for you to sit on the opposite side of someone and say this, that, and the third. But it's like if you don't have that person's world knowledge, their experience, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell,
I
it's
know.
it's
This looks a little
20
crazy.
it's 2022 and we still argue over things like race and gender.
Exactly. And then let alone if they are valid, but also if equality, the equality of it all, the validity. Like we're in 2020, we're going on 2023, we're going on 2023. When I was younger, we used to watch Power Rangers, in the future was 2023. We're in 2023 and we're still talking about the validity of a person's identity. Like, yet we have these shows, and that's why I like the fact that they have more talking going on in this show, because that's the thing. More talking, it's what we need. Triage, can you see the comments now?
I can't actually ask.
All right, I know it looks a little crazy. I'm gonna try to give me a second. Let me figure out how to fix this a little bit. So So only other thing I can think of doing is this.
Wait, go back to what you just did.
This
That works.
word. Okay, there we go. All right, bet. What was hold on. I forgot I can do this. Boom, so I can show the There we go. There we go. So I can show the comments up on the screen. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
There we go. Forgot I can do that.
Yes, I agree with the whole love of action scenes thing, because I always go back to that first season when fucking Superboy wailed on Mammoth. he unloaded on that boy. That was something real different.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I will agree with that too, because that is very true. Because look at some of the characters we've seen in this series, from Black Manta to Deathstroke to Lady Shiva, Ra's al Ghul. Like they were having some kind of knockdown dragouts, and they have pulled back from that some. But I'm always for a good story. That's what matters to me the most.
Yeah, I agree, because they've already shown that they can do those. They can do those blow for blow fights. They've already shown they can do that. Now they're trying to make a point. They're trying to make a point that, like, the whole big thing is that I feel like superheroes were created to have something to kind of relate to. If you look at, especially with DC, if you look at
Absolutely.
Superman was created to give the people at that certain period of time. What was it? World War I or World War II? Which one?
It was I want to say his first appearance is 1929, so it was right around the Depression.
Yeah, around the Depression time. So within that, like, he was created to give the people, the readers, the kids, the strength. There was a lot of war propaganda going on too. Well, especially with if you want to flip it over to Marvel, you look at Captain America. He himself is war propaganda.
Yeah.
Flip it back to look at Superman. You know, it was to inspire the people at the time. And so superheroes were supposed to be relatable. And I feel like a big problem is that they've dragged it away from that relatability. So now we got Superman having full on, bare knuckle boxing matches with Darkseid. Is like, I can't do that. Well, I can't go. I can't have a bare knuckle fight with God.
Well, maybe not so much Darkseid, but like look at like Man of Steel. Don't get me wrong, The fight scenes were good, but it's like, the whole knockdown drag out fight he had with Zod. I've been waiting 20 years to see a fight like that, but it's like, where was the overall storytelling in the movie? I wasn't impressed by it.
Exactly. The parts where I can relate to Superman in those drag out fights is, let's say, a Doomsday drag out fight, where he's literally on his last leg, just huffing, puffing, throwing those haymakers, fighting for what he believed and fighting for what he loved. Those are the moments that I can relate to. And so that's why I like it now that we actually have. Even then, it's just a season. Who knows? Next season we might get those drag out fights again. But this season, I really feel like I love the fact that they are touching on these really strong emotional trigger points, especially within our society. Because in the last episode, bro, like, I'm glad, Triage, I thank you for telling me to watch that last episode. We haven't seen Rocket in 2 seasons. And within those 2 seasons, she now has a 10-year-old son that has autism. And now we're getting into an arc of showing how she is balancing superheroing and dealing and raising a son with autism as a single mother.
Right.
We got another comment here. Oh, go ahead.
And I have a friend who has an autistic son, and she said it is a very special journey, because she was like, how dealing with, not, I don't want to say like dealing with, but like having to go through life with someone who deals with those kind of I don't want to say issues or anything like that because I don't want to mislabel or offend
Difficult.
anyone, but having that situation, she said, is
I would
almost like
say
having a
difficult.
second child. So
Yeah,
like
because it's
I
difficult for
just
him as well.
right,
So I would always say difficulties.
and it's like truly understanding someone is the best way to give someone what they need. But if you have trouble doing that, it's like how can you do it?
That's true. That's true. My even for me, my little cousin, he's on the spectrum as well, and growing up and not knowing what growing up alongside him, or at least watching him grow. I'm the older one. Watching him grow, it was very difficult. To again, I don't want to say deal with him, but to cope, or even then to help him cope with with things, especially not knowing how he was thinking, not knowing his thought process and what was going on with him. You know, it certainly is difficult. It
Right,
has its difficult times and its difficult moments. That definitely, absolutely does not take away from the love. If anything, what I always believe is a person that is dealing with a a mental challenge, they have so much more going on as well, so much more to give. I've always, in me personally, being someone that also has, some mental challenges of myself, I see it as well.
right,
There's certain things that I'm absolutely horrible with, normal everything things that I'm horrible with. But there's also things that I excel in further than my peers, and
right.
that's something that I can definitely say about my little cousin. He's someone that, although his communication between from himself to other people may not be the best, this kid is an evil genius. He's an
Yeah.
evil genius. He can take
Mm,
something apart and put it back together without having to look at a book, without, like, he is incredibly intelligent and smart.
mm.
And this is what I love about this season. I get that they are, yes, they are making them very, maybe a little too relatable, but at the same time,
I do
I'd
agree
rather
with this one comment about the whole thing with Zod and Superman. That is very true. I think they made him way too relatable. They made him too human, in my opinion.
Superman or Zod.
With the I'm sorry.
When he killed Zod, he was no longer better than us. So yeah, okay, I definitely see that. Superheroes are supposed to be somebody that to aspire to. But now, what my thing is, what I'm getting at with what I'd say to that is that how can we look to aspire to be better before we deal with what we got going on?
But once again, that's one of them things. Like we all agree we're equal as people, but we all can't agree what's evil. We
Exactly.
we can't agree what means are necessary and what ones aren't. Like you and me are both big fans of the X-Men. Like
Hmm.
now, as a kid, sure, I want to join the X-Men. As an adult, I'm fighting with Magneto. There's no ifs, ands,
Exactly.
buts about it.
Exactly. By any means necessary. When I was younger, I was Martin Luther King. Now that I'm older, I'm Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
I definitely I feel that. Man, like I definitely feel that. You know, it's that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it has to we have to bring that realism in, because it's like, if you look at the boys, you have heroes with issues, heroes with problems, like real problems.
Well, my
And it and it's like you gotta, and it brings that reality to, is like, what happens if you give a psychopath superpowers?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What happens if you give someone with anger issues super strength?
well,
So
we've seen that in other forms of media already, like with Chronicle and like just like how they're doing the whole thing with Black Adam. Like
yeah,
I remember when Shazam and Black Adam got into a fight, and he was like, you know, how could you do this? You know, the Wizard made you his champion. How could you betray him? And Black Adam said to him, plain as day, he was like, the Wizard gave me the power of a god. He's like, let me ask you something, boy. When you crush an ant beneath your foot, does that make you a murderer? No, because you acknowledge yourself as a higher form of life. If I have the powers of a god, should I not be worshipped as one? Should I not be treated as such? It's a valid point. He's not necessarily wrong.
No, and that's it's so that's why I say that that's why I said what I said. It's like you have to, before you can aspire to be something better, you got to deal with what you got going on now. You know what I mean? And that's why I like how they're taking a step back from the superheroing, from all that superheroing, dealing with their own shit,
Right?
because it's like you are in charge of protecting the world. You're in charge. Look at Green Lantern. You're in charge of protecting an entire galaxy. You can't try to protect this entire galaxy if you got shit going. If you worry about shit going on at home, if you worry about your rent that you gotta pay, if you upset and angry because your wife done cussed you out, you can't be worried about these things when you have to save the world.
Look at everything they're doing with Beast Boy and like how he's dealing with Connor's death. They made mental health a big thing this season.
Full-blown depression. Like the last season was all political. It was straight political. It was straight political all last season.
Right.
And now this season, bro, they're everywhere. Racism, mental health, your sexual identity. And now being an outsider, no pun intended, having to work, being a single mother, raising a child with a mental disability, something that you don't understand either.
Right.
And that's why I say I really feel like in a situation like this, you really have to respect and love what they got going on right now, because it's so different than anything else that we are seeing thus far, even just in television, let alone superheroes. Just in television. What other show that we got going on right now that is really touching on these subjects? One, and teaching us, and also teaching younger ones about like what's going on in their life.
Right. And we talk about this too, because like one of the issues a lot of people have, because I don't want to make this a right left thing, but it's like it's one of those things like a lot of people talk about how like when is it okay to start talking to people about these things and these subjects and these issues? But it's like a lot of people who deal with these things are already dealing with them and just don't realize it. Like people who have questioned their sexual identity, who come out the closet, they didn't do that overnight. That's something people struggle with for years.
Yeah, that's not just something that just sprang up out of nowhere. This is a battle that they have been fighting for years, and have just now finally, and even then I can't even say now finally, and have just now come to be able to accept within themselves as well,
right?
Let alone society accepting them, and that's the thing that I love so much about what what they have Halo going through. I'm not even gonna say Gabrielle anymore because she's Halo now.
Yes.
They are Halo now.
And I thought that was great storytelling. I thought that was very interesting because once again, like she's also a product of the mother box, but then she has her human side, which is from a devoted Muslim family, and that's a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
walk of life, which is another thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're from certain minorities or races or religious beliefs, you can't do these things. You get told that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
You can be disowned and thrown from your family. I mean, the world is somewhat more accepting. I'm not going to say it is because it is somewhat. And like with this form of media and the way people are using it to tell their stories and tell their truths and to wave their flags and let it be known that they're here to stay. I mean, I can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. I really can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another thing I would like to also point out with this series is that they're telling a story over the course of a few episodes. They're not trying to jam everything into 23 minutes.
Yeah, that's something that I'm really liking as well. And even then, if you pay attention, each one of these arcs, each story that they're telling, each one of these arcs are happening at the same time.
Right.
All these arcs are happening at the exact same time. So that's what that's what I like.
And it's like it's not overly violent or super sexual or nothing like that. It's not for the sake of the ratings. It's for the sake of
Mm-hmm.
telling the story and telling it well.
Exactly, and this is something that I know I really can't stress enough. Like, you know, we have to appreciate the fact that it's not sexualized, because then, especially, I'm gonna bring it back to The Boys. If you take a look at it, we have that whole arc of this character who is, this whole arc of this character who is, this country girl, preppy, very modest, raised, you got good home raising, you know, and being forced to sexualize herself for the ratings. So right there, it's just like we have all these shows. We got Wonder Woman. We got DC, the DCEU sexualizing one woman. Look at the way she dressed and all this and that. We have all these other shows sexualizing women and all this other stuff. Like, I'm appreciating the fact that we're getting the story without cleavage, without butt, without over exaggeration of a male's muscular figure. We're not getting a story on top of getting a crotch shot, or you know what I'm saying.
Right.
We're getting the story in just the story, and I love that. We're getting the story in just the story.
Right.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, we got a few comments here. We want to see Halo get back in action with the Outsiders.
I definitely do.
Halo. Garfield in the last episode was a savage. I felt like he was real disrespectful in that last episode. I'm not even gonna
What?
say a savage. As coming from someone who's been in that exact situation, like, that is completely 100%. Like, I've been him. I've been there. I've been him, and it's been absolutely, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So I can't even say it was savage. He was an all around asshole. You know what I'm saying? All around asshole. He has all these friends around him that are there because they literally care about him. And I feel like, but the problem with him is that he can't deal with his emotions in that moment. Thus, he can't deal with the emotions just in general of dealing with people. So he's blocking he's compartmentalizing. He's blocking and cutting off all other forms of emotion so he can focus all his energy on this one feeling, on coping with that. You know what I'm saying?
Super not healthy.
Super not healthy. Compartmentalizing is not healthy at all. In the moment it is, in the moment where you have to be like, all right, whoa, stop. All right, what's going on? Okay, move. Momentary compartmentalizing is fine. What he's doing is it's self-destructive, and that's why I love that they're showing all his phases of grief. Dude, he's on drugs, bro. He's on drugs. They haven't
Yeah,
talked
he's
about it
definitely
yet, but he's
self-medicating.
popping pills. He's
He's definitely
self-medicating. He's popping pills
self-medicating.
to help him sleep at night. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. What cartoon that's not on Adult Swim that is about superheroes, kids, like superheroes that are made for kids? Do you know that has a character that's self-medicating, popping pills? That has a story that is sitting there diving deep and talking about grief, talking about depression, talking about mental illness, talking about
Right.
gender roles, talking about being a single mother, talking about all these other things, talking about racism, all in one season. One season. They're on episode 19. 19's coming out
Right.
tomorrow, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In a few hours, episode 19 is going to be dropping. Let's see. We got this one right here. It's a religious subject that, as a writer, I wouldn't touch, because then you are alienating your entire show from playing in a region of the world. But I can understand with the story being targeted towards American Muslims. No, not even that, bro. I feel like they're it's not even targeting American Muslims. This is targeting the non-American Muslims. This is
Right.
targeting non-Muslims. Pardon me, Muslims. This is for me. This is for you. This is for the people of other race, cultures, and creeds that don't understand the struggle that American Muslims have to go through when they are fighting with their identity, where they are raised, they're raised Muslim, but through their learnings and teachings, in America, they're starting to say, maybe I want to do something else. Maybe Muslim and Islam isn't for me.
Wasn't Gabriel's mother wasn't she a surgeon or a doctor? And then like when she came over, she wound up working like a whole nother job because she was worried about her
Because her
medical
credentials
credits
gonna carry
transferring over.
Yeah, her credentials gonna carry over.
Like how is it you're in a profession, not even a job, you're in a profession, one country, for you to go somewhere else for them to tell you that's not good enough, you need to learn it this way, and we can't accept it.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And within that, first off, within that one scene, they touched on a lot. Within that one scene, dude, they touched on so much within that one scene.
Just her talking about the hijab and her wearing that, and it's like
and the thing is, I also want to point out that the writers aren't pulling things out of their ass with this. The writers are sitting down and they're talking with with these people that deal with these issues. For that scene, more the fact that the writing is so on point and so non-offensive, non-stereotype, and the writing of that felt like it was coming from someone's heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't just writing. They sat down and spoke with someone of the Muslim faith, of the Islamic faith, and they asked them, what is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? Her responses to as Violet and Halo or Halo, as they were speaking to her, was so on point, that they had to been speaking with somebody to write that.
If they didn't write them themselves.
if they didn't write it up, there's no. Even then, there's because that's how TV shows work. Not every episode in a season is directed, written by the same person. If anything, yo, bro, for that episode specifically, they could have easily had American Muslim writer for that.
Right. Because
So you never know.
I remember I was listening to a podcast. Excuse me, there wasn't a podcast; it was an interview, and they were talking about like the whole thing, like why is it black cinema needs black directors, black producers, and Denzel Washington answered it. He's like, it's not a race thing; it's a culture thing. He's like Steven Spielberg did Schindler's List. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas. So it's like you have an Italian American who does movies about Italian Americans. Like, why would a black man who's from an urban area not do a TV show about urban Black America? It's you telling your truth through your perspective. And it's like, of course, the person across the street might not see it the same way. He could be from a completely different walk of life from me. But it's one of those things like if I tell him my story and he listens and he tells me mine and we see the common ground in it.
Exactly. And that's what I love so much about this season. Here, let me see here. We got a few comments. They're commenting like crazy here. Right after that last one. But what do you think it's gonna happen with Superboy? It's confirmed he's in the Phantom Zone. Yes, it's confirmed that he's in the Phantom Zone. I think Zod's definitely gonna help him out, get out of there, but of course at a cost.
Must say, is Zod helping Superboy or is Zod helping himself? That's the $1 million
Zod's
question.
definitely helping himself.
Because if he sees the crest on his chest, he's got to have an idea of who he is or where he's from.
Yeah, he knows exactly who he is. He saw the crest on his chest. He was like, okay, you're Kryptonian. I'm gonna take your body. I'm gonna take your body. He like Zod looked at him and was like, your body all over my body.
Oh, it's super.
It's our body, man.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. And then let's see, we got this one right here. Yes, Garfield's lost so many people. He doesn't see the point in life since death is so easy. That's also true. I definitely feel that.
But that's more reason to live.
That's more reason to live. To make their because once he gets that clear mind moment and sees that they all died sacrificing themselves to save the world, he's gonna see, all right, they died in sacrifice. I can't let myself go. I have to live to remember them.
Right. But that's also a very American issue also as far as this cat, because one of the many issues in America is we get taught that we're going to live these long lives and we're going to do all these things, but that's not really the case. So it's like in certain cultures you do get prepared for death and you do get taught about these things. Like it's one thing for you to truly understand it and you have to deal with it and then know how to process it. It's like, you really don't get taught that. You get to a certain age, someone dies, especially like someone who's close to you or someone you love, and then you get this sense of your mortality.
I've been there. I've been there plenty of times. I hate to say it, I was there recently. When a good friend of mine, that we used to work with, passed away. I really sat there and really thought, like, yo, like, this is wild. Like, completely, I literally just talked to this person yesterday.
Right.
And now I'm hearing, and literally I'm getting a message saying that they're gone today. Perfectly healthy.
Right.
no health problems. At least no physical health problems.
Right.
Like that really has you really stop. It really stops and makes you think like I really need to I need to make some changes. It really makes you look at yourself and really decided to make some changes. Because it's like I'm here one day and I can be gone tomorrow. I'm here this minute. I can be gone the next. And leave all the people and it really makes you think like, all right, when I'm gone, what are people gonna remember me for? What is my legacy?
Right.
You know, and that's one thing that I feel like Garfield really he'll get to eventually. You know what I mean? But what I've learned throughout my life is that I believe it's I'm trying to remember who said this. I don't know if it was Winston Churchill or no, I think it was Theodore Roosevelt. If you're going through hell,
Keep going.
keep going. Yup, keep going. Because that's the only way through hell is to get to the other side. Feel your emotions, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to get through those. To feel them, you need to feel them. Let's see what we got here. We have well, making Violet a non-binary Muslim girl passed a lot of Muslim fans. But that's the thing, though. That touches back to what I was bringing. I know we're a little bit late. You guys are commenting like crazy. I know we're a little late on it. But that's the thing, though. Who's to say that there's a lot of Muslim American women that don't identify as women? You know, they identify as Muslim, but they don't identify as women. But because of the Muslim faith, they're bound and feel afraid to not come out like that.
Right. And
You
that could be
know,
something she's just
or
struggling with at the moment. She could decide down the line. That's another thing too.
exactly, she couldn't make that decision. She literally says at the end, right now, I feel like they. Right now, I feel like Violet.
Right.
You
I mean,
know,
if you can't walk and buy life, you can't tell me how to judge or live it.
exactly, because right now she's going through that process of finding herself. Maybe later on down the line she will choose and decide. You know what? Because this entire time, from the time she found out what really happened with her, she's been trying to live her life in honor of Gabrielle. And now she's coming to like, all right, this is really exhausting. It's tiring. I'm trying to live my life in accordance to something else that somebody else had going on.
Right.
She's like, who am I now?
You watch Cloak and
Who is
Dagger,
Violet?
correct?
Absolutely, I watched Cloak and Dagger.
Like that whole scene, like where Tyrone was fighting that perfect version of himself. You can have expectations, and people can have expectations of you. Absolutely,
Mhm.
I tell my niece all the time, like you have too much potential to be a screw up. But it's like you can only live up to those so much. You can't live your life trying to appease other people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Exactly.
I was raised with certain morals, values, and beliefs. I can pass those on and hope that the next generation accepts it, but they also have to find their own path and walk it.
Exactly, and that's what's going on, and that's why I love that conversation between Gabrielle's mom and Violet, because she's like and that's what I love so much about that character. It's like she openly says, it's like she understands that as much as it hurts her, the person that she's looking at is no longer her child, but she will still respect and treat her as if she was her child. And she tells her, yes, that may have been what Gabrielle wanted to do, but honey, you need to choose what you want to do. I will be here for you and help you and guide you along this road of Islam, if that's what you choose to take a look at to see if this is for you. I will help you decide if this is for you or not. but she accepts the fact that she doesn't have to make that. She doesn't have to make that change. I agree. The hijab, it's touchy for Islam. Yeah, even then. Well, personally, myself not being, not being Muslim myself, I don't know much about, the hijab, and honestly, that episode taught me a lot. It actually taught me a lot. It taught me so much about Muslim women and the choices that they are able to make. Because for a long time, I was ignorant to that. I was under the belief that, Muslim women, they're forced to cover their hair, and all this stuff. That was an ignorant belief that I had when I was younger, because I had never, come in contact or even sat down and had a real conversation with, with someone who, with someone who found the Muslim faith. So I never had someone to show me that, teach me that. But that in that moment, in that scene, that gave more information than most American people have, and maybe and or will ever get in one sitting, about the Muslim faith and Islam and Muslim women, and it's in fact their choice.
Mm.
And that's what I love so much about that scene. You know what I mean? And then moving on, going forward, so we kind of catch up. Jesus God, you guys are going crazy. Kudos to the last season. Writers were amazing. Highlight this episode. Yeah, Cyber to leave and let the doc brush her hair. Exactly, I love that. That was lovely. That last scene right there. This one here, the writing is very Americanized, leading Islam. My life, I see how they did it. There are many pillars of Islam. Yes, from my little brother. My little brother is Muslim. He follows Islam. And yeah, there are a lot of pillars. It's just, again, you also have to remember, yes, a lot of this show is by American writers, and they also do still have a story to tell. So they are trying to flesh. Go ahead.
I'm also curious, like, is it one of them things like, well, look at Christianity? Like, you could ask 9 different people about the Bible and get 9 different answers. Like, I was born and raised Baptist. Now, if you could have someone who's Catholic or who's this or who's that, and they all follow the same book and they're all following the same principles, but you're going to get different styles, philosophies, and stories.
Yes. And from what I do know, yeah, there are a lot of people within the Muslim faith that practice Islam differently than other people. I know for a fact, like I said, even my little brother, he practices it a little bit differently than some of the other people that I know.
Right.
I'm not gonna get my own personal. I'm not gonna put my own personal, feelings or beliefs into it. It's just I kind of feel like, if everyone's following the same religion, then everything should be kind of uniformed within that. But that's neither here nor there. I agree. It's an American show, and they do still have a story to tell. What I hope is that they do flush out, more of that, more of those Islamic teachings to that, because we're definitely going to see more of that. We're definitely this is a journey and a path that she's on. We're definitely going to see more of that, and I can't wait for it.
Well,
let's see.
I'm really tempted to see if they're going to go back to Markovia, because that whole thing with Brienne they've been hinting about it low key, and I'm really curious to see if they're going to wind up back there.
They will.
Because I was always a big fan of the Geoforce character. I was a big fan of the Outsiders as a kid, and he does his thing in that. Like, Geoforce is one of the few people to beat Deathstroke in a fight.
Ooh.
So that speaks volumes to his skill as a fighter right there.
That comment, That comment, this comment right here is I can agree with that. I can agree with this comment right here.
Which one?
You know, right here that I have up right now. Her saying Islam means many different things for different people is vague. Is a vague and a good enough for ideas or talking points, but never saying what she practiced as a family is what made it more Americanized. An explanation.
I
Yeah,
don't understand. I don't understand that.
so from what I'm getting for it is he's saying that by her not giving an actual explanation of essentially, but wait, actually no, she did. She did say that she did say what the hijab meant to her. Because remember, the question wasn't about how she practiced Islam. The question was about the hijab specifically. And she answered the question about the hijab specifically. She never asked about how she practiced Islam. That was never the question. She asked, yes, she asked, what is Islam? And then Gabrielle's mom replied, it's many different things to many different people. But that's the thing. She asked a general question, so she got a general answer.
Right.
Because now think about it. If she was to say what how she specifically and her family specifically practice Islam, Violet would then in turn practice it that way. No, she wanted her to practice to find her own way. She wanted her to find out what it meant to her. Because now if somebody's like, hey bro, how do I do this? And you're like, okay, well, I do it this way, this way, this way. That's all they know how to do. So they're going to do the way that you just showed them how to do. So you have to allow them to find their own way of doing things, or they're just going to repeat and regurgitate what you just showed them. That's why she didn't tell her what she practiced. Because if she told her what she practiced, then Violet would in turn start practicing the way that Gabrielle's mom practiced. Instead of taking the journey to find out what it really meant to her, to find out if that was something that was right for her.
Right. Matter of fact, you've seen Malcolm X with Denzel Washington, correct?
Actually, no, I actually did not.
Because there was a scene where a young kid saw them stand up to the police, and like the one kid comes in to speak to him, and he says that he wants to be a Muslim, and he was like, do you know what that means? And he's like, no, but I want to be one. He was like, you need to find out what that entitles before you decide that you want to be a part of it. Do you know what it is that you have to endure, what you have to go through, what the standards you have to live up to, the things you have to process and go through? And it's like so many people get involved in shit without truly understanding what it is they're getting involved in. And then it's like when shit hits the fan or stuff goes sideways or things happen, it's like one of those things like, well, you had the information. Why didn't you go all the way down the rabbit hole?
Exactly. Why didn't you? And that's the thing. Research, find out what you're getting into. And I agree with that so much. People just jump into things. And that's what Gabrielle's mom did not want for Violet. She didn't want her just to jump into to Islam and not understand it. And not understand what it meant. She want you got to take that journey. It's not about where you are. It's not about your destination. It's about the journey, how you get there. You know what I'm saying?
And faith is a very interesting thing. It's comforting to some people, it's destructive to others, and
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I really don't want them to end the series with what Darkseid. I'm sorry, I was reading someone's comment.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I think they're gonna end this. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No,
they better not do no Thanos snap type shit. I'll be pissed.
No, absolutely not. This series is gonna keep going. This, especially because HBO has it. HBO has a knack for keeping shows going and keeping them good for a long time. HBO has some of the longest running shows to air on television.
Mm-hmm.
So
From the
this show,
Sopranos, True Blood, Oz.
yeah. Sopranos is going on for so they literally just made a prequel series to the Sopranos. So it's even then still going on.
Right.
So it's like, the Sopranos are still going on. So I feel like they're not going to end with Darkseid. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. They have a lot of source material. Actually,
well, here's the funny thing with this show though, because they've only been touching on the source material here and there, like the whole thing with Superboy being a clone, or they finally showed how Batgirl wound up in the wheelchair and why she's Oracle now. So it's like we've seen that Jason Todd died, but he's not really dead. So they're only hinting at certain storylines. They're not completely rewriting them or taking them and running with them, because certain stories are iconic. The killing Joker, Barbara Gordon gets shot by the Joker. That's iconic. Jason Todd being beat to death and the death of the family. That's iconic. But it's like for them just to touch on it subtly, use this material like, oh, this happened, but that's not what the story's about. I don't mind that.
I feel yes, I agree. And I feel like I feel like with that, how do I say it? Like, so I like what first off, I like what they're going. I like the writing, and I need there's so many different things that they can touch on, so many different places that they can go with this. Even after dealing, because we've always seen it, we've seen it in the past. Darkseid comes up, they deal with the situation right quick, and they call it a day, and they keep it pushing, and they keep it moving. And I feel like we're gonna end up seeing that again. Darkseid, he gonna try to, try to act a fool. They're gonna put him down real quick, and they're gonna move on to the next thing. Or, because that's the thing. It's not really Darkseid though. At the end of the day, they're really playing with Vandal Savage's storyline.
Yeah, Vandal's a goon, son. Vandal's been on some shit.
He really has. I've never seen a man play a long game like this before. I've never seen a character just like this, like if you haven't seen it yet, for anyone else who's watching, I'm sorry if I end up giving away anything, but like, this man was literally the first civilization. Literally the first civilization.
Shit, we found out from like roots to Atlantis to the metahumans to
forget about
Clarion, the Witch Boy, and how he got involved with everything.
Forget about forget about roots. Forget about the root of it. He is it. You see what I'm saying? Like, he is it. Like, he is the. Like, he is Atlantis. He is the first civilization. Like, there's nothing really that anyone else can. Like, he is the civilization. Like, from ancient Mesopotamia. From ancient Mesopotamia to like Atlantis, Byzantine empires, all that. It's all him.
Yeah.
There would not be a civilization in that world without him. He had his hand in literally everything. Freaking everything.
And it's funny because he talks all the time about how he wants to bring peace and order to the world as long
Yeah,
as
he's the one rolling it chaos, bringing it chaos.
yeah. Well, hey, in my Littlefinger voice, chaos is a ladder.
I like that. I wasn't expecting that. That's good. That's good. You know, I'm just gonna throw this up here too. Let me see what we got here. Boom. They are good with Young Justice with the storytelling. Is the great writer overall. Yes, yes. Throw that up in there. Boom. So we on the side here.
Yeah, I like to take the minute to appreciate everybody who's being interactive like this. This is super dope.
Definitely. Cash, Mia, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and having a good time. You know, I'm having a really good time. We weren't even supposed to go this long, so I'm really appreciating it. Comic arcs he wrote for Green Lantern were amazing. I also agree. They haven't fought Darkseid yet.
He's another character to me that they just don't know what to truly do with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I appreciated the whole thing with them using. Come on, Green Lantern.
Oh, Green Lantern. Oh,
yeah, I'm talking about the Green Lantern.
I'm talking about Darkseid. Oh man, don't get me started on Green Lantern, bro. Don't get me started on Green Lantern. Because I'm just still stuck on Hal Jordan, how he was able to. They haven't done it yet, but I would love for them to do it. To just bring in, like, the fact that Hal Jordan has wielded all of the Lantern rings to become a White Lantern.
Oh man, listen, man, that's a whole nother. That they need to give him his own show for that. There's no way they're fitting that into a whole few episodes and doing it justice.
Speaking of Green Lantern shows, that animated Green Lantern show that came out a while back, the kind of like 3D rendered one, that was fire. That show was fire. I don't know if y'all remember that. Do y'all remember that one?
I definitely do. That's when they actually really touched on like the Red Lanterns and the blue ones.
Yep, the Red Lanterns, Blue Lanterns, green. I think they had they brought in the orange. They had the indigo.
Yes, the Indigo Tribe. They had the blue, and they had. Did they bring the pink in?
Yeah. Yep. Because I remember her hitting on Hal. And he was like, I don't know if I want to deal with this. Now, question. All right.
Yeah.
How much do you know about the Green Guardsman?
Wait, are we talking about Guy Gardner or are we talking about the Green Guardsman?
The Green Guardsman, my bad.
Excuse me, the Green Guardsman. Oh no, you're talking about the one from the Justice League episode?
From the Justice Society of America.
Okay, so you're talking about the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott. Yeah. I don't know much about Alan Scott, honestly. He was never like a big. The Justice Society was never like a big thing with me, so I don't really know much about them. I know about like the Hawks, and that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Because like I'm getting a lot. Everyone's like, "Oh, Hal Jordan, first human Green Lantern," but I'm like, "But what about Alan Scott?"
Now, Alan Scott is the first Green Lantern from Earth. Alan Scott just wasn't part of the Green Lantern Corps.
Is that so? Really? Because that's the thing. I never understood that. How if you're a Green Lantern but not a part of the Corps.
See, I think it's one of them things like, the Corps got done after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they didn't explain it until like years later.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Because I feel like they didn't really dive into the Corps until Hal Jordan.
Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's also one of the things like, if you ask different people, they're going to give you different answers. Like Hal Jordan was the Green Lantern I grew up reading about, but most people were like, they knew about John Stewart from the Justice League cartoon. And then like, My cousin,
Yeah, he always
his favorite Green Lantern's Kyle Rayner. So it's like it just depends on who you ask.
really,
Well,
really,
Kyle Rayner was a graphic artist, so it's like if
yeah.
you have a weapon
His
where you can,
contract, his contracts are the nuttiest of them all, because
right?
he's he's an illustrator. So his imagine, because that's what it's based off. It's based off of your imagination, and and what makes him strong is your will. How strong you will him to be. Mm. And I can feel that's one way that one thing that I felt was odd about having Ryan Reynolds bleed Green Lantern.
Oh God, oh
That
God.
man, because don't get me wrong. I appreciated the movie. Did I feel it was great? By no means, but I certainly appreciated it. Let me see here. We got Reiner. Alan Scott was the first Lantern, but they didn't speak on the core with him. Yep. Yeah, actually no, from what I'm hearing, from what I was hearing is that everyone thought that Hal Jordan was the first human Green Lantern, but in fact the first human Green Lantern came before him was Kyle Reiner.
No, Alan Scott.
Oh, okay. So he's saying here,
It goes.
Kyle
It goes.
Reiner
Alan
is the
Scott,
first
Hal
Lantern
Jordan.
they used to flesh out the Lantern stuff and the other rings and lore. Hmm.
Ah,
Gotcha.
I'm about to say because I was like, "Where's that?" So I was like, I felt like we were having some confusion there.
Yeah. And then let's see, what's this one? I know how they told his story because I love how they told his story because the whole time I'm like, dude is a no go, little bad guy, getting all grr whenever he's on screen. Now I'm like clapping and all gritty because he's been the world's protector for eons. Yeah, like, and honestly, yeah, I never thought too much about Green Lantern until I saw John Stewart, and I'm like, oh, a black guy, Green Lantern. Wait, wasn't Green Lantern always white? Why they change him to be a black guy now? Tokenism. Then I learned it's like, oh no, it's a completely different character.
Right.
It's a completely different character. So I appreciated that. Um, I appreciated that a lot. And then I actually started diving deep into Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, and then got the Black Lanterns and stuff like that. Speaking of the Black Lanterns, I think they're about to bring the Black Lanterns into the Flash TV show. I'm gonna come back to that one.
Into the what TV show?
The Flash TV show.
Oh boy, I stopped watching the Flash.
Yeah. They brought in Deathstorm.
Oh gosh, yeah, I stopped watching the Flash a while ago. I might get back to it just because of the fact I'm a huge Firestorm fan, so it's like
yeah,
I might get back into it, but it's like it just went too far left for me.
Yeah, I feel like this season, no, last season was way too far left for me. I feel like they absolutely muffed all the way to high heavens. They muffed up the whole different forces.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb. I really did.
Muffed that all the way up.
I get what they were trying to do, but it came out goofy to me.
Boy, goofy not the word. They yucked that shit all the way up.
And once again, I get it because they take liberties with stuff like the way Arrow did with the longbow hunters, and
yeah, but there's this certain shit you don't take liberties with. Don't take liberties with something that you don't understand. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like none of that was to the source material at all. I don't even know the source material, but if the source material was anything like that, I don't want to read it.
Right.
Like,
honestly, they should have not. The issue with that was is that they strayed kind of far from like the whole CSI aspect of it. Between if they had like stayed amongst that more and like his and more issues like with his rogues gallery, they'd have been fine. I get it.
No more rogues gallery. Like every episode, it's somebody random.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got his goofy ones like the Turtle Man and
Trickster. We don't see Trickster no more.
But here's my thing. It's like
I lied. We saw the Trickster's son. We saw that. Last season before last.
You can always take a character and give them a facelift. Like look at what they did with Leonard Snart. Like I thought that was great. How they made him the master thief and how he was a legitimate threat to him, and like how he could have actually outsmarted him. Like I like that because it's like if you're someone who read the comics, Snart's a joke.
Yeah. Like my thing is like, and I yes, I agree with the way they did. I like the way they did Leonard Snart. I did. I liked it so much. I also appreciated his send off, having him go from evil to good to sacrificing himself. I like that a lot. I thought that was dope, but I just feel like we don't have those strong characters. We don't have any like. I feel like before in Flash we had stable villains. We had stable villains that became staples. But we don't anymore. It's not a thing anymore. Because we literally have these one-offs literally every episode. They're all one-offs. There's no one that is actual literally like, oh, we've seen this character before. Oh yeah, we've seen this character before. Like it's not it, and that's what bothers me, and that's I feel like that's what made it so great to begin with. Like we have Carlos that left, who played Vibe. Right? Yes. He Cisco Ramon, he left the show. Now we have what's her name? Something Panabaker playing two characters at the same time, which she's doing an absolute phenomenal job of doing. I might add, she's doing great with that. She's playing both Caitlin Snow and Killer Frost at the same time. And they have like this sisterly bond going on or something like that, which I still also find a little weird.
Yeah, I'm confused with all that. I'm just not going along with it.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know, bro. There's just so much ridiculousness.
Well, my thing with that is like they have a really bad habit of not just letting the bad guy sometimes be the bad guy. Like, all right, there's a saying, any person who tries to be good all the time will fall to ruin for those around him who are not good all the time. Like, you're a Game of Thrones fan, correct?
Yes.
Ned Stark tried to do what he thought was right. How'd that end? Robb Stark, how'd that end? Jon Snow took a knife in the heart. It's like you can't be the good guy every single moment at every single time. It just doesn't work. So it's like, I get that they want to give characters redemption, but there has to be a way to do it.
Everyone.
Well, but there has to be a good way to do it. Like look at like Vegeta. Like
Mm-hmm.
you understood why he was the way he was. It came over time. It wasn't overnight, and you got the fact that he became who he became. And then it's like, or like now, then you got someone like Siler from Heroes, and it's like they just didn't know what to do with him.
Oh, ooh, you brought it back. You brought it
Like, and
all the way
I
back.
loved Zachary Quinto playing him in the first two seasons. But it's like as
Yes,
time went by, it's like I didn't understand like why they had these issues with him. Like he was the bad guy. Just let him be the bad guy. I'm not saying he needs to be completely evil, but it's like just let him be that guy who's like, yeah, I did this because I felt like it.
exactly. That's all. That's all it was for him. It was because he felt like it, and that's what I appreciate about like it. Literally, yeah. Just let the villain be the villain.
Like
You
or
know.
like or like another thing, like look at Loki. Like I think like everything they've done with him in hindsight is just I don't care no more.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I feel the same way. I just feel like I mean, but here's the thing, if we look at DC, they've always had a they have a thing about just making their animated shit just so much better than their live action shit. We see it on a regular basis. So I'm just I don't I personally I'm appreciative so much of Young Justice. I appreciate that it's touching on so many things that it's touching on. I appreciate that it's hopefully opening a lot of people's minds. It's starting conversations, and I definitely appreciate that a lot as well. It's starting conversations. It's making us do stuff like this, making us talk about it.
Right.
So I really appreciate it. And it's just the I feel like the potential of where Young Justice can go at this point, now that HBO has it in its hands, it's endless. I don't
I
know.
agree.
Mm.
I would like to see it I like to see it be given maybe two more seasons because there's quite a few questions we haven't answered yet. Like what's Darkseid's angle in all this? What happened to the one chick who Zatanna cast out, who she wasn't trying to let presume her
Oh
magic teachings, the one who was a member of the Shazam kids?
yeah. Was it
Like we're
didn't
still
actually no she if I remember correctly, she got brought into the fold of
Apocalypse, yeah,
yeah with
by Granny
Apocalypse.
Goodness.
Yep,
So
yep by
like what's
Granny.
the story with that? Like what's
Hmm.
going on with Connor and the Phantom Zone and the whole thing with the Legion? Like there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to clear it up in this. They're not going to be able to clear it up with this. I think this is their last arc of this season.
No, there's one more because the person who you haven't seen yet is Dick Grayson.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Damn. So they're gonna do like what? How many episodes per arc has been? Like 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's usually four.
Yeah. So we got another 4. We're gonna have. So we're going on episode 2 right now for Rocket.
Right. So we should have another 7.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would certainly because remember they still got to clear up what's going on with Garfield. I love how we don't even call him Beast Boy anymore. We just call him Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah, we still got to clear what's going on with Garfield. Or next time we do this, bro, we need to talk about Titans. I know it's
Yeah,
been a
we
minute.
do.
We need to talk about Titans next time around. But listen, I feel like this has been pretty good, bro. We at 2 hours and 10 minutes, homie. So I think this is pretty good. I want to appreciate everyone that's came out, everyone that's been commenting and everything. Yes, live action Titans. Yes, I'm talking about live action Titans. We're gonna talk about that next time around. Definitely, you guys tune in. We'll try to do this like in between. when we release the episode, again, check out next week. We're talking about the one and only Slade Wilson. Not gonna lie, I was almost said Wade Wilson. I
Oh
said that
my!
I did it earlier. I'm not even gonna lie. I did it earlier.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
No. On my own. I was like, all right. So we're gonna do the show about Slade, about Wade. I mean Slade, Deathstroke. So next week we're gonna be talking about Deathstroke. So tune in. We're gonna be doing the super. Our usual the super breakdown podcast, and then after that we'll do something live. I decided that we're just gonna do this just so we can just sit and chat and talk. We'll try to do these a little bit earlier in the day, going forward, just so more people can can jump in, be more interactive. I know everybody got things to do. But yeah, I like doing this. This was a lot of fun just to be able to sit and talk,
Right.
and not be confined to a certain timeline, in a certain script that we have. But all right, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in to the first episode of the limited edition live with your one and only Power Maximus and everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage. You can catch us next week for the super breakdown. We're talking about Deathstroke. Please check out the website, weeksmultimediagroup.com. Head over to our podcast site. We have 2 podcasts up there right now. The State of the Music podcast, which just dropped a new episode today, and then we also have the Super Breakdown podcast, which last week we did Black Panther. Got Black Manta up there. We got a few other episodes. We got a few other characters up there like Angel and Archangel. If you guys are interested, we're gonna keep doing this as long as you guys love it. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let your homies know. Let the homies of the homies know. And we'll see you next time. All right. Peace.